This is a vision I saw November 3rd. The vision starts out in a lush garden type terrain, and it's set up to where there is a flat, on the left side there's a flat, canopy with trees and green, lush, just greenery, and then it goes down into a cavern and up the other side into another flat space, and it's all covered in this type of terrain. And I see a man on the side, sort of standing on the edge of the cliff and facing the other side, but he's got a fishing pole in his hand. And he pulls up a fish with his fishing pole with one hand, and with the other hand he points across over to the other side. And when I look and see the other side, I could see the same, canopy of trees and everything in the garden type stuff. And I see these women, and they're all in the spirit. And as I see what they're doing, they are all taking care of harvesting and planting and working the ground. And they're all doing different things. Like one has a basket and is filling it, and another has, is digging in the dirt and things like that. Another has seed, another has bread. They all have all kinds of different things that they're working with. But they are women, and they are in the spirit. And a thought occurred to me that it could be parts of the bride. It seemed so. And then after seeing this, I saw coming from the right was an army, and they were riding horses, and there was a few men holding flags up, and there was hundreds of them, and they were all coming from the clouds onto the ground and running, and they were running, and they ran down into this, I want to say it was down into this little cavern area, because it looked like it was running toward it, but it wasn't. It was just on sand. And the horses ran as fast as they could. And then as they're running, their flags and horses and bodies begin to basically turn to dust, into dirt. And as they've run down into this place, their bodies become this soil. And the soil is very clearly mixing and turning with their bodies or remains or whatever it was that they had turned into soil. And it just for a while sat there and turned and churned and mixed, and you could just see it was a good working of the soil. And then the next thing that happened was a man in armor stepped off of a water, I think it's called a water mill, no, it's just called a water wheel. It was a water wheel. And he stepped off of it in full armor and walked towards, on this dirt ground. It was hard now. It was almost like sand. And he looked toward this out into the distance, just a small ways. And there was a huge, I think it was a kingdom, and it was made of metal, some sort of silver metal, and it was like a skyscraper, but it wasn't a building. It was almost like it was the outer wall of a kingdom. And it seemed dark and gloomy over it. It seemed to have high walls and metal doors. And anyway, the knight got on a horse and rode singularly by himself towards this. And then he took a sword out and had it outstretched. And he went fast and towards this building. And when he got to it, he took his sword out and he just sliced it up, and it fell. And it was easy. The sword went right through it, sliced it again and again, and it came crumbling down. This was the end of this vision. I did feel like there was more to be seen, but I could not see it. So that